She finalized the divorce quietly. Hours later she was spotted on a private jet with an heiress. The pen felt heavy in Layla Hassan's hand, though it weighed no more than any other pen she'd held in her 32 years. Outside the lawyer's office window, Dubai's skyline gleamed in the afternoon sun, all glass and ambition reaching toward an impossibly blue sky. She took a breath, then signed her name on the final page. Layla Yasmin Hassan. Not Layla Rashid. Not Mrs. Rashid Al-Kawari. Just herself. Congratulations, her lawyer Fatima said quietly. The word felt strange. Congratulations on the death of a marriage, on 5 years dissolved into legal documents and divided assets. But Layla understood what Fatima meant. This was freedom, even if it wore the somber clothes of endings. Layla stood, smoothing down her cream-colored abaya. Her phone buzzed insistently in her handbag. Probably Rashid, making one last attempt to guilt her into reconsidering. Or her mother, ready with another lecture about shame and what people would say. She ignored it. The elevator descended 40 floors, and with each floor Layla felt lighter. The marble lobby echoed with her footsteps. Outside, the heat hit her like a wall, but she welcomed it. Real. Present. Alive. Her phone buzzed again. This time, curiosity won. She glanced at the screen. Soraya Al-Mansour, are you free right now? I have a plane leaving in 2 hours. Come with me. Layla's heart stuttered. Soraya. They'd met 3 months ago at an art gallery opening. A chance encounter that had turned into coffee, then lunch, then long conversations that made Layla feel seen in ways her marriage never had. Soraya was everything Layla had been taught to admire from afar. Wealthy, confident, moving through the world with an ease that came from never having to ask permission. Word. Layla typed back. Soraya, does it matter? Say yes first. Destination later. A laugh escaped Layla's throat, surprised, genuine. When was the last time she'd done something spontaneous? Rashid had scheduled their lives in 15-minute increments. Even her rebellion, the divorce, had been planned meticulously over months. Her fingers hovered over the screen. The sensible thing would be to go home, rest, begin the practical work of rebuilding her life. The old Layla would have done that. Yes, she typed. Send me the address. 90 minutes later, Layla stood on the tarmac of a private terminal, a small overnight bag at her feet. The jet before her was sleek and white, its stairs extended like an invitation. At the top, silhouetted against the cabin's golden interior, stood Soraya. She descended the stairs with fluid grace, her black hair loose around her shoulders, wearing slim trousers and a silk shirt that caught the wind. When she reached Layla, she didn't hesitate. She pulled her into an embrace that smelled of jasmine and something else, something like possibility. You came, Soraya murmured against her ear. I just signed my divorce papers 2 hours ago, Layla said, pulling back to meet Soraya's dark eyes. I have no idea what I'm doing. Soraya's smile was radiant. Perfect. Neither do I. Let's figure it out together. As they climbed the stairs together, Layla didn't look back at the city behind her. For the first time in years, she was walking toward something rather than away from it. The jet's interior was all cream leather and polished wood, intimate and luxurious. As the door sealed shut and the engines began their low hum, Layla felt the last chains of her old life fall away. Whatever came next, it would be hers. Truly hers. The jet leveled off at cruising altitude, and Dubai became a glittering memory below the clouds. Soraya poured 2 glasses of champagne, the bubbles catching the light filtering through the oval windows. To divorce, Soraya said, raising her glass with a mischievous smile. To freedom, Layla corrected, and they clinked glasses. The champagne was crisp and cold, tasting of celebration rather than loss. Layla settled into the plush seat across from Soraya, studying the woman who had somehow become significant in her life without her fully noticing when it happened. Are you going to tell me where we're going? Layla asked. The Maldives. A private island my family owns. No one's there this month. Soraya's expression shifted, becoming more serious. I needed to escape, and I thought, perhaps you might need the same thing. Escape from what? You have everything. Soraya laughed, but there was pain beneath it. Everything except the ability to choose my own life. She set down her glass, leaning forward. My father wants me to marry Khalid Al-Thani. Do you know him? Layla nodded. Everyone knew the Al-Thani family, old money, political connections, the kind of dynasty that shaped nations. The meeting is scheduled for next week. Our families have been planning this alliance for 2 years. Soraya's jaw tightened. I've managed to delay, to deflect, but time is running out. My father says it's my duty. That the merger of our family's businesses is bigger than my personal preferences. What do you want? Layla asked softly. Soraya met her eyes, and the intensity there made Layla's breath catch. I want to live honestly. I want to wake up next to someone who knows me, really knows me, and chooses me anyway. Not my name, not my money, not the strategic advantage I represent. She paused. I want to stop pretending that I can be satisfied with the life they've designed for me. The cabin felt suddenly smaller, the air charged with unspoken meaning. Layla understood she wasn't just talking about arranged marriage or business obligations. When I saw you at that gallery, Soraya continued, you were standing in front of the Khalil piece, the woman with wings, remember? You were completely absorbed like nothing else existed. I watched you for 10 minutes before I had the courage to approach. And when we talked. She trailed off, searching for words. When we talked, I felt like I could breathe for the first time in years. Layla's heart hammered against her ribs. Soraya. I know you just left a marriage. I know this timing is terrible. But when you texted that you'd sign the papers, all I could think was that if you had the courage to choose yourself, maybe I could find that courage too. Even if just for a few days. Outside the window, the sky had deepened to indigo, stars beginning to emerge. Layla thought of Rashid, who had spent 5 years trying to mold her into his ideal wife, quieter, more obedient, less ambitious. Who had made her feel that her architecture career was a hobby to be tolerated rather than a passion to be celebrated. She thought of her own mother, who had warned her that divorce would mark her, make her less desirable, damage her prospects. As if being desirable to others mattered more than being true to herself. I spent 5 years making myself smaller, Layla said. Apologizing for taking up space, for having opinions, for wanting more than I was given. Today, when I signed those papers, I promised myself I would never do that again. She reached across the small table between them, taking Soraya's hand. You don't have to pretend with me. Whatever this is, whatever it becomes, I want the real you. Soraya's fingers tightened around hers. That terrifies me. Good, Layla said, surprising herself with her boldness. I'm terrified too. Let's be terrified together. They talked through dinner, delicate grilled fish and saffron rice that Layla barely tasted. They talked about Soraya's passion for art collecting, how she'd built a private collection that rivaled museums. About Layla's dreams of designing buildings that honored heritage while embracing innovation. About the weight of family expectations and the cost of defying them. Somewhere over the Arabian Sea, as the jet carried them toward tomorrow, their hands remained intertwined across the table. Dawn painted the island in shades of gold and rose. Layla woke to the sound of waves and the unfamiliar luxury of having nowhere she needed to be. The villa was open and airy, with flowing white curtains and furniture that seemed to have grown organically from the island itself. She found Soraya on the terrace, 2 cups of coffee already prepared. I couldn't sleep, Soraya admitted. Too much beauty. Too much possibility. It felt wasteful to spend it unconscious. They spent the morning exploring, walking barefoot along pristine beaches, discovering hidden coves where the water glowed turquoise. Layla felt the tension of years beginning to unknot from her shoulders. No schedule. No expectations. No one to answer to. That afternoon they swam in the warm ocean. Soraya was unself-conscious in the water, diving beneath the surface and emerging with her hair slicked back, laughing at nothing and everything. Layla watched her and thought about joy, real joy, not the performance of happiness she'd mastered during her marriage. Come here, Soraya called, treading water near a coral outcropping. You can see fish. Layla swam over and they floated side by side, peering down at the underwater world below. A school of silver fish moved like liquid metal. Soraya's hand found hers beneath the water, and they stayed that way, suspended between sky and sea. The days developed their own rhythm. Morning coffee became ritual. They discovered they both loved cooking and spent an afternoon preparing an elaborate meal together, flour dusting their clothes as they argued playfully about the proper way to make bread. They read books in comfortable silence, occasionally sharing passages that moved them. On the 3rd evening they walked along the beach at sunset. The sky was performing, deep oranges bleeding into purples, clouds catching fire. I don't want to go back, Layla said quietly. We don't have to. Not yet. They stopped walking. The waves whispered against the shore, eternal and patient. Soraya turned to face her, and in the dying light, her eyes held a question. Layla answered by closing the distance between them. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, asking permission. Then Soraya's hand came up to cup Layla's face and the kiss deepened. It felt like diving into warm water, like coming home to a place she'd never been. Nothing like the obligatory kisses of her marriage, mechanical and empty. This was what? Pure and uncomplicated and terrifying. They broke apart, breathing hard. Layla's hand trembled against Soraya's waist. I've never, Layla started, then laughed shakily. I think I always knew, but I never let myself. We don't have to rush, Soraya said, though her voice was rough with desire. We have time. But that night, lying in separate rooms, Layla couldn't sleep. Her entire body hummed with awakening. She thought about the life she'd built on foundations of should and supposed to. The revelation wasn't that she was attracted to Soraya. It was that for the first time she was allowing herself to pursue what she actually wanted rather than what was expected. Near midnight she heard soft footsteps. A gentle knock on her door. I can't sleep either, Soraya said when Layla opened the door. She wore a simple nightgown, her hair loose. Vulnerable. Real. Stay, Layla whispered. They lay together in the large bed, at first just talking in the darkness. Soraya spoke about the loneliness of being surrounded by people who loved her position rather than her person. Layla confessed how she'd blamed herself for her marriage failing, wondering what was wrong with her that she couldn't be satisfied. Nothing is wrong with you, Soraya said fiercely. You were just trying to fit into a life that was never meant for you. Their conversation dissolved into kisses, slow and exploring. Soraya's lips traced Layla's jaw, her neck. Layla's fingers tangled in Soraya's hair, learning the texture, the weight of it. They moved together with a patience born of years of denial, savoring each discovery. When they finally came together fully, it was with whispered endearments in Arabic, gentle touches that spoke of reverence. Layla had never felt so present in her own body, so aware of pleasure as something she was allowed to claim rather than something she performed for someone else's satisfaction. Afterward, wrapped in each other's arms, Layla felt tears slip down her cheeks. What's wrong? Soraya asked, concerned. Nothing, Layla said and meant it. Absolutely nothing. I just didn't know it could be like this. The spell of paradise held for 2 more days. They woke tangled together, spent mornings swimming and afternoons reading in hammocks strung between palm trees. At night, they made love with increasing confidence, learning each other's bodies like a language they were becoming fluent in. But on the 6th morning, reality arrived via their phones. Layla checked hers over breakfast and felt her stomach drop. 17 missed calls from her mother. 23 from Rashid. And a text from her business partner, Noor. Call me immediately. Rashid is causing problems. What is it? Soraya asked, reading the tension in Layla's face. Before Layla could answer, Soraya's own phone chimed. Then chimed again. And again. She picked it up, and her expression darkened with each notification. My father, she said flatly. He's seen the photos. What photos? Soraya turned her screen around. There, on a gossip website, were pictures of them boarding the private jet. The headline read, Al-Mansour heiress escapes with mystery woman, wedding off? Layla's hands went cold. How did they? Someone at the airport. There's always someone. Soraya scrolled through the messages. My father is furious. He's demanding I return immediately. The Al-Thani family is questioning the arrangement. My mother says I've humiliated them. Layla's phone rang. She answered without thinking. Do you have any idea what you've done? Rashid's voice was venomous. Flying off with some woman the same day our divorce is finalized? I've already called your major clients. Told them you're having a breakdown. That you're unstable. Unprofessional. You have no right. I have every right to protect my reputation. You made me look like a fool, Layla. I'm simply returning the favor. Come back and apologize publicly, or I'll make sure no one in Dubai ever hires you again. The line went dead. Layla sat frozen, the phone slipping from her hand. Years of building her career, establishing her reputation, could he really destroy it all? She knew the answer. In their social circles, perception was everything. Rashid had connections, influence, and the wounded pride of a man scorned. Soraya was reading her own messages, her face pale. My father says if I don't come home today and fix this, he'll remove me from the company. All of it, the art foundation, the charity work, everything I've built. He says I'm choosing selfishness over family legacy. They sat in silence, the paradise around them suddenly feeling fragile, temporary. A beautiful dream interrupted by the alarm clock of obligation. We could stay, Layla said, but even she could hear the uncertainty in her voice. We could just not go back. And do what? Live in hiding? Watch our lives burn from a distance. Soraya's voice cracked. I want to, Layla. God, I want to. But we'd lose everything. Our careers, our families, our ability to actually make a difference in the world. So we just surrender? Go back and pretend this never happened? I don't know. Soraya stood abruptly, pacing to the edge of the terrace. The ocean stretched before them, indifferent to human drama. All my life I've done what was expected. I told myself it was duty, honor, responsibility. But the truth is I was afraid. Afraid of being cut off, of losing everything I'd worked for. Layla joined her at the railing. I left my marriage because I realized I'd rather have nothing and be free than have everything and be imprisoned. She took Soraya's hand. But I can't make this choice for you. Whatever you decide, I won't blame you. Soraya turned, her eyes bright with unshed tears. What if we're not strong enough? What if we go back and the pressure breaks us? Then we'll break, Layla said. But at least we'll break trying to be honest rather than slowly dying behind a mask. They held each other as the sun climbed higher, warming their skin. The phones continued to buzz with increasing urgency, demanding, threatening, pleading. Finally, Soraya pulled back. I'm not going to hide. Not anymore. Her voice was steady now, resolved. If we're going to do this, we do it facing forward. We go back. We deal with the consequences. Together. Together, Layla echoed. They spent the afternoon making plans. Not plans to appease or apologize, but plans to stand firm. To tell the truth. To fight for the right to live authentically, even if the battle cost them everything. That evening, as they packed their few belongings, Soraya found Layla on the beach, watching the sunset. Are you scared? Soraya asked. Terrified, Layla admitted. You? Absolutely. Soraya took her hand. But I'm more scared of going back to who I was before. Of pretending I don't know what this feels like. They kissed as the sun set, turning the sky into a masterpiece of color. Tomorrow they would return to Dubai and face the storm. But tonight they had this, the truth of what they'd found in each other and the courage to protect it. The private jet touched down in Dubai at dawn. Neither of them had slept during the flight, instead holding hands and rehearsing what they would say, how they would handle the inevitable confrontations. We separate here, Soraya said as they prepared to disembark. We each handle our own families first. Then we meet again. On our own terms. Layla nodded, though the thought of separating made her chest tighten. When? Tonight. My gallery. 8 o'clock. Soraya squeezed her hand. Whatever happens between now and then, we face the rest together. Promise me. I promise. Layla went home to find her mother waiting, along with 2 aunts and her sister. The intervention she'd expected. Have you lost your mind? Her mother began. The whole city is talking. Rashid says you've damaged his business reputation. Your own clients are questioning your judgment. Let them question, Layla said calmly, setting down her bag. I've been living according to everyone else's judgment my entire life. It ends now. Her sister, Amira, stepped forward. Layla, I understand you're hurt about the divorce, but running off with Soraya Al-Mansour, do you understand what people are saying? I don't care what they're saying. I care what's true. Layla faced her family. I was miserable with Rashid. Miserable and pretending otherwise because divorce was shameful. Well, I'm divorced now and I'm not ashamed. I'm relieved. And Soraya? She paused, finding her courage. Soraya sees me. Really sees me. And yes, I have feelings for her. Strong feelings. That doesn't make me confused or broken or having a breakdown. It makes me honest. Her mother sank into a chair. What will people say? Eventually? Nothing. They'll move on to the next scandal. But I'll still be here living my life. Either you can be part of that life or you can choose judgment over your daughter. But I'm done making myself small to make others comfortable. The room fell silent. Then Amira spoke, her voice soft. I'm proud of you. Their mother looked shocked. Amira. No, Mama. Layla is right. We've all been so concerned with appearances that we forgot about happiness. If she's finally choosing herself, we should support her, not condemn her. It wasn't acceptance, not yet. But it was a beginning. Across the city, Soraya faced her own reckoning. Her father's office was a fortress of mahogany and disapproval. He sat behind his massive desk, her mother standing rigid beside him. I've already issued a statement, her father said without preamble. You were suffering from exhaustion. A brief moment of poor judgment. The Al-Thani family has agreed to overlook this incident if you proceed with the engagement next month. No, Soraya said. You don't understand. No, you don't understand. Soraya stepped forward. I'm not going to marry Khalid. I'm not going to continue pretending to be someone I'm not. I'm grateful for everything you've given me, but I can't accept it as payment for my happiness anymore. Her father's face darkened. If you do this, you're out. No position in the company, no access to the foundation. You'll be making a choice. I know. And I choose honesty. I choose to live authentically, even if it costs me everything you've given me. Soraya's voice didn't waver. I'm a good businesswoman. I've tripled the art division's revenue. But more importantly, I'm a good person who deserves to love openly. If you can't accept that, then I'll build something new. Something that doesn't require me to lie about who I am. Her mother spoke for the first time. And this woman? This Layla? You're willing to lose everything for her? I'm willing to lose everything to be myself. Layla is part of that truth, yes. But this is bigger than one person. This is about refusing to live a lie. At 8 o'clock, Layla entered the Al Mansour Gallery. The space was closed to the public, dim except for strategic lighting on the artwork. Soraya stood in front of the same painting where they'd first met, the woman with wings reaching toward freedom. How did it go? Layla asked. I'm officially disowned. You. My mother is deeply disappointed. My sister is supportive. Rashid is still making threats, but Noor thinks we can weather it if I make a statement about maintaining professional standards. They stood side by side looking at the painting. I've been thinking, Soraya said. I have my personal savings. My art collection. And you have your talent, your vision. What if we combine them? What do you mean? A foundation. Architecture and art, supporting women who want to break free from traditional constraints. You design spaces, community centers, women's shelters, schools. I fund it through art sales and donations. We create something that matters. Something that helps others find the courage we're trying to find. Layla felt something unfurl in her chest. Hope, purpose, possibility. You really want to build something with me? I want to build everything with you. Soraya finally turned to face her. It won't be easy. Society doesn't change quickly. We'll face judgment probably for years. But we'll face it together. And maybe, by living honestly, we'll make it easier for the next person who needs permission to be themselves. I don't have much to offer, Layla warned. Rashid is already damaging my reputation. I might not get the major commissions anymore. You have integrity. You have courage. You have a vision of buildings that honor where we come from while embracing where we're going. Soraya took both of Layla's hands. That's everything. They sealed their partnership with a kiss, there in the gallery surrounded by art that celebrated human truth in all its forms. 3 months later, the foundation launched. The criticism was harsh at first, gossip columns, religious leaders condemning them, former friends who turned away. But they also received letters. Hundreds of them. From women who felt seen, who found courage in their story, who needed to know they weren't alone. Layla's mother eventually came around, slowly, with many difficult conversations. Soraya's father never did, but her younger sister reached out privately, thanking her for showing there were other paths. They designed and funded their first project together, a community center for divorced women to learn new skills and rebuild their lives. At the opening ceremony, Layla stood at the podium and looked out at the crowd. Soraya sat in the front row, radiating pride. This building represents something simple but revolutionary, Layla said. The idea that women deserve spaces where they can be fully themselves. Where they can transform, grow, and support each other through change. That's what architecture should do, create sanctuary for truth. After the ceremony, as they walked through the space they'd created together, Soraya pulled Layla close. Do you ever regret it? Everything we gave up. Layla thought about her marriage, about the life she'd left behind, about the comfortable lives she could have continued living. Then she looked at the center around them, full of women laughing, learning, supporting each other. She thought about waking up next to someone who loved her completely. About building something meaningful rather than just successful. Not for a single second, she said, and meant it with her whole heart. Outside, Dubai glowed in the evening light, a city of dreams and ambitions. And somewhere in its heart, 2 women were proving that the most radical thing you could do was choose authentic love over comfortable pretense, and build a legacy from that truth. The end.